Facebook gaming versus Mixer versus YouTube gaming versus, what's that other one? Oh yeah, Twitch. Which platform is going to be the best for you to grow? We've got a brand new study that breaks down all of the numbers on how much live streaming has grown overall, year over year on the platform, month over month, which games are taking off. We're going to dive in and give you all the insights you need to know to grow as a streamer. And then power tip at the end, question from the audience: how often should you be uploading gaming videos on YouTube? We're going to answer that if you tune in all the way to the end. We know a thing or two about that. We have grown a few channels to over 1 million subscribers in gaming. Let's get into the study itself. Andrew Perrin, we love it when we get new juicy studies in from really credible sources, and this one has some great numbers. Check this out, Perrin. Overall, the gaming industry, Perrin, has grown by 99% in terms of live streaming year over year. I mean, does that surprise you at all? I mean, it doubled in 1 year. I thought it was growing, but doubling is really, really insane. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised. Streaming was it was growing pretty slowly until we hit 2020 here, and then we've got this reason to stay home. The pandemic, COVID, is hit us, and I think that's certainly accelerated this to the last kind of 30%. But even if you were to take that out, it's still higher than what I would have thought it was, especially for Twitch. I did not think that Twitch was growing so much. If you're looking straight at this year-over-year growth, Twitch has doubled in 1 year, which is absolutely insane that it's done so much. Facebook gaming, 238%. Now that one, I was a little bit more yeah, it's gonna grow a lot, especially since it's newer. I think when you start kind of at that bottom, it's much easier to grow by 200, 300%. When you've been around for a while, like Twitch has, and you've grown by 100%, this far into your business, that's huge. And it just goes to show the demand there is now for online live content, live video content. It has been the thing that we're all hungry for on the internet. Video is great. Video has been the thing, but live video, that is the thing for this decade. That is the thing for 2020 to 2030.
It is, and some of the things that shocked me on this list, we knew Facebook gaming was growing, but it is growing way faster proportionately than every other platform at 238% versus 99%, the industry average. Twitch, like you said, right there at the industry average. So it's growing solid, right? It's a solid growth platform in terms of the number of hours watched year over year. But surprisingly, YouTube gaming only growing by 65% year over year. So I think YouTube gaming's growth has accelerated in recent months here in 2020. But last year it wasn't growing that fast. But the real shocker here, and we knew Mixer wasn't growing, right? But to see how abysmal it is in comparison to every other platform, Mixer had less than 1% growth year over year, less than 1%. So there are currently 4 million streamers actively streaming on Mixer right now. That number is probably spiking up to about 5 million here during the pandemic. And the platform that you guys are on, as millions of streamers are there, has grown 0. So, Perrin, what does this tell you? If you're a new streamer, if you're a starting streamer, if you're a small streamer, which of these platforms, strictly by the numbers, are you jumping on to try to get your growth?
So I always talk about this in terms of, I throw out the word organic, which in, I think the last episode of the episode before, had to define a little bit. I throw that around because it's a social media marketing term. Organic growth is just growth where you are getting it just by executing content. You're not having to pay for it, basically. And anytime you're on the internet doing pretty much anything, you're running a business, making a website, doing social media, live streaming, making video content, anytime you're doing that stuff, you want to be doing it in a way where you're getting organic growth, because that means you can just execute your strategy and you will grow. So this chart makes it super clear. And I know we've been kind of doomsaying Mixer, but this is probably in this new report, that 0.2% number, that's the number that really kind of proves what we've been saying, is go where the organic growth is. Quite clearly, Mixer does not have any organic growth, which is tough for them because they just spent a lot of money acquiring Ninja, making these big marketing plays, and it didn't pay off for them. So now they're going to be kind of stuck on what to do next. But all of the other platforms have great organic. Twitch sitting in there at the industry standard of 100%. You know, we talk about Twitch, and we've talked about other studies where the saturation can be kind of high versus the viewership, et cetera, can be a bit challenging to punch through. But if you boil it down to simplicity, there is organic growth there to be had. And if you can figure out how to grab it, it's there. But the best one.
But it's slow or nearly impossible on Twitch because there's millions of streamers. But there is growth on the platform overall, which is good.
Yes, it does have growth. It's just there's also so many creators there that you'll be competing with. So it can be tougher, but there is organic growth there to be had. It's like Instagram right now. Like Instagram, it's tougher now, but there is organic growth, technically speaking. So it's possible. It's just challenging. The one here that stands out clearly is Facebook, obviously, that where there is just a lot less competition and there's just massive percentages of growth. That is a platform where you could really just get in on the ground floor and make it big with the rise of Facebook gaming if it continues to show numbers like this, which I think it will. The surprising one here is YouTube, with only 65% year-over-year growth. I bet we see that increase for 2020 into 2021. At least in my streaming experiments, I've noticed there'd be a higher demand, and I've been gotten more viewers and more engagement from YouTube Live than any other platform currently. And I'm trying a multi-stream strategy there.
That makes sense. Yeah, we're both actively live streaming now. So you and I are both kind of following where the growth is, right? You're doing restream strategy, and all of the small streamers out there, listen to this. Do what Andrew Perrin is doing right now. He's streaming to all of these platforms simultaneously, and he's seeing which one gives him the best growth with his game, and then he's going to end up doubling down on that platform in the future. I recommend you guys try this out. Let's take a look at some more of the numbers here. This is just one chart, right? There's plenty more to look at. So shelter in place, the whole pandemic thing, how much has that grown these platforms month over month? Okay, the recent trend, right? And if you look at the industry growth, across the industry, 45% growth month over month, April versus March, which, you know, is incredible month over month growth. In 1 month, the amount of viewership has increased across gaming live streams by 45% in 1 month. Keep in mind, over the last year, it grew by 99%. So it's like almost half of that growth in the entire industry in 1 year just happened in 1 month. So you want to talk about the opportunity being ripe to capture viewers that are pouring into these platforms? It's right freaking now. The numbers confirm that. But here's a shocker again. This one really surprised me again, Perrin. If you look at Twitch, Twitch has really been racking up on that industry growth, surpassing the industry growth of 45% month over month, busting into 50% in terms of how much it's grown. So it's really benefited. But then YouTube gaming, in 1 month, the viewership on YouTube gaming grew by 72%. In 1 month, guys. This is preposterous growth. This has never happened. This has never happened before.
If I'm looking at the same chart here, Facebook gaming 72%, YouTube gaming 14%. Right, we're looking at the same chart here.
We are, yeah. So so Twitch grew by 50%, Facebook gaming grew by 72% in 1 month, and so both of those have surpassed the industry growth in the last month. This is preposterous, historical growth for these platforms that has never been seen before. Live stream platforms don't grow this fast. They maybe grow 5% in 1 month, and 5%, maybe 10% in 1 month is an insanely good month for these platforms.
Something to look at here is if you like, we're looking at the percentages, but look at the actual numbers for a second. You know, YouTube gaming, a much bigger platform than Facebook gaming, like at least by double, right? Look how quickly Facebook gaming is catching up. So YouTube gaming grew from 403 million to 461 million. You know, about 60 million growth there. Facebook gaming goes from about 170 million to 290 million. So they've grown more in this past month than Facebook gaming has. They're catching up, and they're on pace to surpass YouTube gaming in terms of hours watched at the very least. So that means more people are beginning to go to Facebook gaming to find gaming live content than YouTube. that is an interesting scenario. We've talked in historical past casts here about the war between YouTube and Facebook and how they vie each other for video content. It looks like Facebook gaming is on track to actually beat YouTube in one of their areas.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, if these numbers continue, Facebook gaming by the end of the summer will perhaps be the second most watched live streaming platform, leapfrogging YouTube, obviously crushing Mixer. Everybody's crushing Mixer. And it's going to be going after Twitch at that point. Facebook, the platform everybody was poo-pooing on for so long. Nobody's going to watch gaming on Facebook. Yeah, look, 291 million hours watched on Facebook. That's how many people are watching it, compared to only 37 million hours watched on Mixer. So Facebook is almost 10 times more watched than Mixer right now. And there's only 130,000 streamers on Facebook, and there are 4 million streamers on Mixer. Okay, so let's take a look at Mixer. One thing that's kind of interesting here is, Mixer's growth was 15% this month versus last month, whereas YouTube Gaming's was 14% this month versus last month. So that might look bad for YouTube. But when you look at the actual numbers, YouTube grew from 403 million hours watched to 461. So they picked up 60 or so million hours watched. That's pretty good growth. Whereas Mixer only picked up 5 million hours watched in growth. So though the percentages may look the same over here on the side, YouTube actually grew 10 times more than Mixer did. So Mixer's still just absolute trash in terms of viewership. And that's a real shame because Mixer has a great viewer experience. Their interface is wonderful. The integration with Xbox is fantastic. The integration with PC gaming is fantastic. They have so much going on from a tech point of view. And I love that about Mixer. And the community's friendly there. I love it. But unfortunately, Mixer's marketing strategy for their platform isn't working. The industry grew by 45% this last month with coronavirus. And Mixer only grew by 15%. They should at least be on par, right? If their top talent strategy made sense of bringing over Ninja, of bringing over Shroud, of bringing over the best of the best to attract people to come over there, if that was a good idea, they would have at least saw 45% growth during coronavirus. People that want to see the famous Ninja, but it didn't work. So it turns out, and so I'm going to rant a little bit here. I'm going to look at everybody on camera. It turns out when you do marketing for a live streaming platform, and all of you streamers out there and YouTubers need to listen to this, when you see somebody marketing something in the gaming industry, whether it's a game, whether it's a live streaming platform, whether it's a social media platform, whatever it is, if you only see them paying to bring on board large influencers and to bring on board large talent, and they're not running ads all the time, they're going to fail. And that's exactly what Mixer's doing. They paid to get top talent on their platform, and it didn't grow them at all. And so in order for any of these platforms to grow, they not only have to have top talent, but they also have to pay millions of dollars each month in advertising and paid opportunities in terms of marketing to grow their platform, or they're going nowhere. And that's something that I think is really interesting here. And it's a crazy, crazy, interesting insight. They probably dropped millions on bringing influencers over. It turns out that doesn't do jack squat without marketing. But wait, there's more. Let's look at the games here, Perrin. Have you heard, the top 10 streamers on Twitch is interesting. There was a bit of a shuffle up here. I don't know how familiar you are with the top streamers on Twitch, but Anomaly ended up taking the list in terms of hours watched over the course of over the course of the last month. I think that has a lot to do with Valorant. Summit, though, still really holding strong here at number 2. And I believe Summit is still the most subscribed Twitch streamer here. I don't think this is that interesting for a lot of people, but I just think this shows the power of Valorant to really push people forward. And let's look at the numbers here. These are the top games. Let me zoom in here, Perrin, so you can see this. What do you see from this list of top games in terms of the strategic launch of Valorant? Is this going to shift the industry? Do people have to cover this game? Is this the next Fortnite? What do you see here from the numbers of April 2020?
I mean, Valorant quickly kind of securing a number 1 spot. It's going to be there for quite a while. Yeah, Valorant's interesting. There's so many people streaming it. I don't think it's something that you have to stream to be big. In fact, I would stay away from it specifically because it's oversaturated. And we covered this in a previous cast where we kind of broke down some numbers. Valorant is oversaturated. There's actually much better targets to hit. In fact, Fortnite would even be, I think, a better target to hit. In fact, Valorant being number one actually opens up Fortnite to be a better streaming opportunity. For those of you who really wanted Fortnite to be an opportunity, but it's been so oversaturated for so long, and so many people are streaming it. I think there's a little bit more viability now because Valorant kind of stole the number one spot. But I think
you mean because it reduced the competition for Fortnite? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think it pulled desaturated, I guess is a word you could use, the Fortnite streamer community. So I think a lot of Fortnite streamers have gone to Valorant looking at, I mean, you're always going to have this sect of people or gamers who stream who think that they have to stream the number one game to be successful. So you can always expect that if you're streaming like a number one game and another game becomes number one, a sect of that pops off and goes and just keeps following the number one game because they think that's the way to do it. Spoiler alert, that's not the way to do it. But we're never going to change that group of gamers streaming mind. They're always going to be doing that. So now that Fortnite's not number one, it actually has taken away a level of saturation, number of streamers to Valorant. That opens you up to have some less competition. However, Fortnite's still pretty super saturated, but it's better than it was, is what I'm trying to say. The thing that stands out for me the most, though, is Just Chatting. And in kind of the past week, I've been watching Just Chatting hit number one on Twitch a couple times. Just Chatting has skyrocketed. And you have to think about why that might be in the social situation we're in, where we're kind of shut indoors. And we need, as human beings, we need socialization in some form. Just Chatting online and live with your followers, with other people, has a much greater appeal now, especially even as a viewer, not just as a streamer. So you're seeing that rise up quite a bit. I think as Twitch implements and solidifies their different features, like their watch parties, and allows them a little bit more flexibility, we'll see that open up. We'll see more streamers doing things other than gaming on this platform. And that Just Chatting category is going to stay in like the top 1 to 3 for, I think, from here to the infinity of Twitch's lifespan, however long that ends up being.
Yeah, I agree. In our previous cast, I predicted that Just Chatting would become number one and maybe permanently on these gaming platforms. I still believe that. I think it will become, by the end of this year, if the trend continues, Just Chatting will be the number one thing streamed on Twitch in particular, probably forever. Because there's an unlimited amount of content there. Every live streamer can cover that one. They don't need to be an expert at it, and they can just fire it up, and it'll be here to stay, I think. Let's move on from this one because there's a whole bunch of statistics just around Just Chatting that we've never seen before. So this is why you guys tune in toward the end of the podcast to get some of these better insights. But Just Chatting, month over month, moving from January to February, it grew by a significant amount, like 85 million or so to about 90 million or so. And then into March, it went up to about 100 million or so. And then into April, Just Chatting went up to about 130 million hours watched on Twitch in particular. But here's the shocker, Perrin. I mean, we're not shocked, but here's the shocker. April 2019, Just Chatting got about, like 50 million or so hours watched for that month. This year, in April 2020, Just Chatting busted up over 130 million. So year over year, Just Chatting grew by 138%. No other game has done that. Obviously, new games come out and stuff like that, but no other category has seen that kind of meteoric growth in terms of the number of people watching it. And so one thing I've been telling streamers is you need to have a Just Chatting strategy for your channel. You shouldn't only be playing games on your channel. And when you want to take a break, you should be looking at just chatting with your audience, switching over the game that you're covering to perhaps Just Chatting, and seeing if you can tap into this basically mega growth that's happening within this category. What are your thoughts on that, Perrin? I mean, I feel like this could be like the staple, quote unquote, gaming streaming category for a lot of streamers to double down at and to practice at moving forward. And an example I've seen out there, Shroud, on his YouTube channel, he shows almost no gameplay on his YouTube channel anymore from Mixer. It's just clips of him just chatting, talking about his thoughts on esports, talking about his thoughts on the latest announcement of XYZ, just sharing his life stories and crap. And those clips he's uploading to YouTube, and they're actually doing better than gameplay clips because people want to know what he thinks. So what are your thoughts on that? Integrating just chatting into your streaming strategy.
Yeah, I actually tons of stuff to say on it. I'll try to keep it concise. The thing I like about it most is that it's changing our streaming strategies, especially coming from the perspective of a gaming streamer, and to be more community oriented. And that's a good thing. And that's going to be a healthy thing for this platform into the future. Sitting and actually just hanging out like with your viewers and just talking casually to them is one of the best things you can do in terms of being relatable and connecting with your audience. And all of our research and all of the education out there for creators in all different aspects, YouTube and any other Patreon, other platforms, it is extremely valuable and beneficial for you to connect directly with your people watching you, to talk to them directly, to be a human being and have like one-on-one or many interactions with them, instead of just always having kind of this barrier of the game kind of that you're talking about and having that topic. I think it's going to kind of connect us a little bit better to have like this period where we detach from playing the game and kind of just hang out for a little while. That sounds fun to me. And as the community manager that I am, like that sounds like community building to me. That's where community is built. So I think we're going to see a lot more streamers become better at building communities together. I mean, there's already a lot, don't get me wrong, there's already a lot that are super great at it, but this is an opportunity to look at your live stream strategy, your content strategy, and add the community building component to it, which is so very important for you long term. It's how you're going to branch into things like Patreon. It's how you're going to get mega engagement and have a highly engaged audience, is by doing these things. And now with this category kind of blowing up, and you can see why, it's increasing over the industry standard. If the industry standard right now is 100% growth, it's at 138%. Yeah, that makes sense to me. And I love to see it. I think this is really healthy for the industry as a whole moving forward, and for streamers as a whole moving forward. And definitely build this into your strategy. Consider, how can I connect with my fans? How can I chat with them as a human being and relate to them, using kind of just chatting as an avenue to accomplish that?
I love it. Okay, there's one last insight here from the study, and then we're going to answer the question of how often should you be uploading on YouTube, question from our audience. But as we take a look at this insane chart here, this is music and performing arts on Twitch. And look at the growth month over month here. It's absolutely preposterous. In February, there was about 4 million hours watched. As you move into March, it went up to 9 million. Mega growth. Then as you move into April, it's about 17 million. Music and performing arts is a category that is exploding, just like just chatting on Twitch. And this just shows you that people want more content than just gaming on these platforms. Obviously, gameplay's fun. Gaming is going to be the main focus for a long time. But people want other types of content on Twitch in particular. And I think that, if Twitch is kind of leading with this trend, and they're kind of leading with this idea of music, of these other areas like just chatting and performing arts breaking through on their platform, I think that down the road, platforms like YouTube and like Facebook gaming, as they catch up to Twitch, are going to see similar trends in the future, years ahead. And so I think this is sort of a snapshot of what to expect on YouTube and Facebook gaming. And so all of you guys can kind of keep that in mind. That's my insight here from this. And I think that, if you want to integrate, if you can play the guitar, integrate you playing the guitar into your live stream. as an example. If you can beatbox, maybe you should beatbox for a few minutes from time to time and do some performing arts on your stream. If you can draw and do graphic design, maybe throw in a graphic design stream. Maybe you making your thumbnails, throw that in as a stream from time to time and start practicing these other areas like just chatting and like performing arts as a gaming streamer, because those skills will come in handy down the road and even today on Twitch to attract new audiences. People want more of this stuff. They want to see what else you can do other than play video games. Clearly, these numbers prove it, right? This is explosive growth in these categories. Okay, League of Legends isn't seeing this growth. Fortnite isn't seeing this growth. Like, no game is seeing this kind of growth other than Valorant right now. People want more of what you can do outside of playing video games. That's what this tells me. How about you, Perrin?
Yeah, I think Twitch's viewership audience is growing so much and not all of it is gaming. And I think, in the next 3 to 5 years, I don't think Twitch is going to be synonymous with gaming so much as it used to be. We're kind of see it getting stirred into a melting pot of different likes and interests. And that's good. The more that happens, the more different types of audiences are going to come to the platform, the more different opportunities you're going to have as a creator to connect with them with different types of content. And gaming obviously won't die. Gaming will continue to grow and be a huge part of the platform, of course. But it's good for Twitch to continue to grow like that. It's good for the streaming community and the industry as a whole for that kind of universal growth to come in as we all kind of realize the value of live video. I love it. I love to see it. I'm glad the music is huge on there. I can't wait for it to grow even more. I'm still trying to find like great music streams to have in the background while I work. And those are nice. So I'm looking forward to where that turns out. Do we have any predictions we want to hit before we jump over, or should we probably jump over and do the
Let's do the question from Gaming with Chills. I don't think we need to do predictions. We baked those into what we just talked about a moment ago. And we've got a question here from one of our audience members, Gaming with Chills. And gosh, this black screen is just killing me. There it is. So this is one of our audience members asking a question about YouTube uploads. Here it is.
At Digital Drop Pod, this is Dr. Chills, and I'm wondering what's your opinion on posting multiple videos a day? Like if someone has the bandwidth to post 2 videos, 3 videos, even 5 videos a day or more, what do you think that would do? How would that reflect on their YouTube channel? Just curious about your opinion, or do you feel no one should do more than 1 video per day? Thank you.
All right, great question there from Gaming with Chills. Thank you very much. I do have an opinion on this, and Perrin, I'd love to get your opinion. But as you're growing and you're in a small streamer sort of mode, small YouTuber mode, the best thing you can do, and I tell people this all the time, the best thing that you can do is you can upload as much content as you possibly can to your channel, because you're likely small, because you don't know what content is really going to work. And so you need to release as much as you can to find the conclusion of what's going to work for you as fast as possible. So if you're able to upload 2 videos per day while you're trying to figure out which game, which format, which keywords, which thumbnail format, whatever it is going to work for your channel, then uploading 2 per day, 3 per day, 5 per day is fine. Get it all out there and focus on YouTube search more than any other type of content when you're first getting started. That can help you understand how you can acquire new eyeballs as quickly as possible. And so a lot of people are poo-pooing on YouTube search and they're saying you shouldn't focus on it. Yeah, you shouldn't focus on YouTube search once you're gigantic and once you have a big channel. No problem. Like, you should be focusing on suggested and clickability at that point once you actually have a base of subscribers to work off of. But before you have that, getting YouTube search traction is the way to go. And on my personal YouTube channel, I've been doing that recently. I upload random videos about all kinds of stuff. An individual mixer, gunner glasses, how to grow on YouTube, social media. Like, it's all in the space, sure, of creating content and working from home, but it's all over the place. And almost all of my traffic comes from YouTube search. And so what that means is that if you uploaded, and for your particular channel, and you're a smaller creator right now, I would upload as much as you possibly can. Then, once you see a few topics, a few games, a few formats emerging as your big winner chicken dinner, after about 60 days of testing this, 60 to 90 days of testing this, eliminate all of the content that's getting no traction, Don't delete your videos. Eliminate the formats that are getting no traction. Eliminate the thumbnails that are getting no traction. Eliminate the games that are getting no traction. And then double down on the ones that are getting traction. Once you do that, you'll start to become a mid-sized channel very quickly. And your average views per video will skyrocket. Once you're at that point, then you should narrow things down to maybe 1 or 2 video formats and series that actually grow your channel, and only produce those once you're a mid-sized channel. Let's say a channel that's getting a couple million views per month. Double down on those 2 formats that are really working for your channel, and then reduce your uploads to 3 to 5 per week. That's what mid-sized channels do. Once you do that, 3 to 5 per week in the mid-sized channel category, you'll start to skyrocket now. And you'll move up to 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 million views per month. Then once you're at the 15 million views per month range on your channel, a gaming channel, just do 3 uploads per week. And those 3 uploads per week should only be 1 series of videos, your highest performing series, and then you only do that on that channel. That's the progression. That's what works. I have clients I've done that with that were started tiny and then went all the way up to 15 million views per month. I've done it over and over and over again. It's simple. When you're starting, as many videos as you can. When you get mid-tier, 3 to 5 per month on 2 to 3 series that are good. And then when you get top tier, you do 1 series 3 times per week. And then you'll make tons of money. And you'll grow. That's how it works. That's how all the big boys do it. So that's the answer. Got anything else to add to that, Perrin?
That's perfect. I would just said, and this is another way of saying what you just said, but don't repeat the same thing, upload it multiple times per day. Like, don't just do the same thing, make the same videos every day over and over and over again as much as you want. Like, vary it up. That stage of that much production, it's great, first of all, that you're in that. Take that creativity and go with it, but make it experimental. Make it where you're trying different things to see what's going to work. That's the phase of your channel where you have that flexibility. So take advantage of it. Don't repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again. You won't have any data to work with. At that beginning stage, you should really be data oriented, trying the new things, evaluating it, testing other things. That's the only thing I would add to that.
That's a great point. Yeah, and if you did your Let's Play and you're like, oh, my first episode of my Let's Play did great, but all my others did terrible. Should I finish it? There's questions like that come up all the time, right? Or I did a guide on guns in the game, and none of them got any traction. Should I do 40 more to figure out if they got traction? If you're asking yourself a question of, is this series going to get traction? Because all the videos I've done so far didn't get traction, but if I do a bunch more, maybe it will. The answer is no, it probably won't. So just kill that idea right there and do a new idea. To Andrew Perrin's point, if something isn't working, don't do it anymore. Stop. Stop spending your time and energy on things that aren't working and come up with new ideas that could potentially work. Doing anything that's different when something isn't working is better than doing something that's almost guaranteed not to work. You know what I mean? Experimentation is everything when you're a small creator, and creators that experiment more quickly and fail more quickly grow more quickly. And those that just double down on that series they want to do because they think their idea is so good burn out, and then they get jaded about YouTube. I've seen that happen a ton of times. Oh, my videos are so high quality. How come nobody wants to watch them? The YouTube algorithm's garbage. Actually, your strategy's garbage. That's why your channel didn't grow. Oh, I'm not saying that about you Gaming with Chills, but just generally trying to illustrate the concept. Thank you so much for listening to the Digital Drop Podcast. If you enjoy what we do here, we're live on Twitter at 9 a.m. Eastern. Every single weekday at Digital Drop Pod. Come join in, retweet. For the love of God, share this information. This is free. This is free content that costs $0. Did I mention how little money you have to pay to watch this content? So give us a retweet, will you? See you in the next episode, guys. Adios. And, create content with a real strategy. Sounds good.